you, and good evening. It's legitimate for me to paraphrase Woody Guthrie's song and say that from our Woods Hole waters to the Berkshire forests, Massachusetts was made for you and me. In addition to the haven so many of us find here in Woods Hole, just 3 hours away and only minutes from Tanglewood, we can climb or drive Jacob's Ladder Road to a giant cushion-shaped rock that is Jacob's Pillow. And there we can find another haven for the most idyllic dance experiences in rustic barns and on an outdoor stage with a backdrop of purple and blue hills. Sublime is an accurate description. I was thrilled to meet Laura Ingoglia here in Woods Hole and learn here of her intimate connections with Jacob's Pillow. As a young woman, Laura was a scholarship student at the Pillow's famed school. While she didn't pursue a career in dance, you will immediately see that she certainly had that choice. She did continue her association with both the school, encouraging and supporting promising students, and with the yearly summer festival that she and Nick visit multiple times every summer. The founders of the Pillow, Ruth St. Dennis and Ted Shawn, and their followers had many well-known students, including Martha Graham, Doris Humphrey, and Charles Weidman. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce another student, Laura Ingoglia.
Oh, thank you. Okay. As Ruth said, I was a student at Jacob's Pillow for 2 summers back in the early 1960s. And I'm so honored to have been invited to speak to you tonight about a place which is so very special to me. Because even though it was, and I have to gulp when I say this, 53 years ago, the experiences I had at Jacob's Pillow really helped shape my life and gave me memories that are going to last me a lifetime. This year, Jacob's Pillow has a new director, Pamela Taji. And in June, during Jacob's Pillow's, during the festival's opening week, Pam greeted the audience before each performance with the following statement. To have been brought to Jacob's Pillow to lead and steward this historic, living, breathing institution is a gift. There is only one Jacob's Pillow. There is only one National Historic Landmark in the entire United States that is dedicated to dance, and it's Jacob's Pillow. There is only one dance festival in the world that exists in dialogue with its natural surroundings, quite like Jacob's Pillow, and that is defined in great measure by the magnificence of the landscape that surrounds it. And there is no other institution dedicated to the preservation of dance and its perpetuation as an art form like Jacob's Pillow. That says so much about what this institution is like. But Jacob's Pillow is not just a gift to Pam. It's a gift to absolutely everyone who visits there. It's a mecca for artists and audiences. It's a place where an unparalleled variety of dance is studied, created, presented, preserved, and most definitely celebrated. It's a dynamic institution, it truly is. It nurtures the careers of its students. And it really inspires and engages its audiences in very meaningful ways. It also empowers artists and choreographers from around the world. Ted Shawn recruited 8 men, including Barton Mumau, and 8 students from Springfield College. He wanted to form a new company. Together, they were intent on challenging the image of men in dance. They forged a new, boldly muscular style, while raising their own food and constructing buildings that are some of which are still in existence today. In July of 1933, Ted Shawn and his men dancers started giving demonstrations to promote their work and also to earn a living. Their audiences expanded so steadily that by the end of that first summer, they were turning people away from the door. Now, through careful and very considered planning, Jacob's Pillow has evolved and expanded since 1933. This year it's celebrating its 84th anniversary. Today, this dynamic institution, I cannot explain to you how much it's evolved and expanded. It encompasses the very world-renowned dance festival, the prestigious school at Jacob's Pillow, an internship program, rare and very extensive archives, a year-round community program that serves people of all ages. And they also have a variety of digital resources, such as the Jacob's Pillow Dance Interactive, and where a global community can access videos from the extensive Jacob's Pillow collection. And before you leave today, I have some cards, some material to give out to you. So if you would like to access Dancer Interactive, that will show you how. You won't be able to see this season's performances yet from 2016. They're not on the site yet. But you will be able to see clips of performances from 1933 all the way through 2015. You'll be able to see the entire dance of Ted Shawn doing Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen, which he performed in 1938. You'll be able to see Carola Goya and Matteo in a performance in 1963. Even the comedian Bill Irwin did a performance there in 1983 called Postmodern Studies. You'll be able to see Camille A. Brown, who, besides awards too numerous to name that she got just this year, was given the Jacob's Pillow Dance Award. And you'll be able to see the New York Theater Ballet in Cinderella, which they performed at the Pillow in 2015. I'd like to give you just a brief overview of both the festival and the school. And we'll start with the festival, because each summer it's really an incomparable experience in the world of dance. You can see ballet, modern, jazz, ethnic performances, contemporary works in the making. And they're all celebrated. The love that surrounds the performers and the performances at the Pillow is just extraordinary. Now, you can see these in the historic Ted Shawn Theater, which was built in 1942 by Ted Shawn, in the very intimate Doris Duke Theater, built in 1990, and in the absolutely breathtaking outdoor stage called Inside Out. Now, I'm sure many of you have seen pictures of Inside Out. You've probably heard about it. But unless you've actually been there to experience watching a performance on that stage, there's really no words that can describe it. Some people have tried. They've called it transformative, thrilling, a stunning way to see the splendor and beauty of dance. Well, you have to be there. But it's not only a thrill for audience members, it's also a thrill for the dancers who perform on that stage. There's a young man named Jesse. He was a contemporary student that whom Nick and I supported one summer at Jacob's Pillow. And he was performed on the outdoor stage, and when he came down, he was totally exhilarated. And I said, oh, Jesse, could you write something down for me? Just tell me how it felt to be up on that stage. And this is what he wrote. It's invigorating, iconic, and inspirational. And then he couldn't say anymore. His breath was just taken away by being up there. Now, all three of the stages at Jacob's Pillow, the Ted Chon Theater, the Doris Duke Theater, and the Inside Out stage, allow dance to be presented not only in diverse, but really in very adventurous ways. Each season, approximately 160 performances by 50 companies, 400 artists appear at Jacob's Pillow. As a matter of fact, Reggie Wilson, who you heard speak here last week and who many of you just saw over at the Yard, performed at Jacob's Pillow in 2014. Now, I have a 2016 season brochure to pass out to you at the end of this presentation. So you can see the incredible array of performances that were presented just this season, as well as what's still to come, because the season's not over yet. In fact, one of the companies to come is one of Ruth Gaynor's favorite companies. It's the dynamic tap troupe, Doris Dance. Besides all these wonderful performances that you can see in the festival, each festival season, the Pillow also offers over 200 free events. Now, this includes tours, exhibits, all the performances on the Inside Out stage, which continue throughout the festival season all summer long. And that stage is really, it's for established choreographers, but a great many of the companies that perform on that stage are emerging companies, as well as the students from Jacob's Pillow. There are also panel discussions and daily talks by residents and scholars in residence. Okay? And I find the post-performance talks from the scholars in residence particularly helpful after I've seen the pre-performance talks. Both of those give great insight into the choreographer, the piece that's being performed, the artist's motivations, his or her influences and intentions. You get a great appreciation, a great insight for the pieces that you're about to see, and then afterward for the piece or pieces you have seen. Now comes my favorite part, because Jacob's Pillow also has Blake's Barn. It's open to the public, and it's the home of the Pillow's archives. Now, in Blake's Barn, there are tens of thousands of photographic prints, films, and videos. There are, hundreds of boxes of correspondence. There are 30 trunks of costumes worn by such dance icons as Ted Chon, Ruth St. Denis, Martha Graham. And there is also, it began in June 2015. They have a reading room which they expanded, and they named after Norton Owen, who has overseen the archive since 1990. Now, Norton is a very, very special man. And he's got this encyclopedic kind of brain. You name the company or the artist, he will tell you, just like that, which year or years they performed at the Pillow, and even which pieces they performed. Not surprisingly, I can't give him too much credit for this one. I mentioned that I was speaking at the Lassalle Dance Series, and he went, "Oh, Nancy Lassalle." He goes, "New York City Ballet." Well, when I met Norton, it was the beginning of a new phase in my life. When I told him that I had been a scholarship student at Jacob's Pillow as a teenager, he not only greeted me warmly, he really became excited, and he grabbed Nick and I, and he took us over to a big old filing cabinet, and we looked through, and there he had records of everything that went on the 2 seasons that I had studied there, including which cabins I had resided in each summer. But he also showed us a 1963 PBS special, a documentary to celebrate Jacob's Pillow's 30th anniversary. And he was kind enough to take 3 clips from that PBS special, which dealt with the Jacob's Pillow School, and transfer it to my computer, which we are now going to see on the screen. And if you look closely, and please don't blink, you'll see me at 16 years old, because 1963 was my second summer at Jacob's Pillow. You'll also, I don't know if you recognize her, but my roommate that summer was Linda Kent. She danced with Alvin Ailey. She spent many, many years as a member of the Paul Taylor Dance Company, and she has been teaching at Juilliard also for many years. So here we go, and I'll just give you a clue. I wear a headband.
Was restricted to one technique. Sean challenged that idea by stressing his theory that dance was too big for a single style. He stretches his pupils' imaginations by extending their training to all 3 of the major schools of dance: ballet, ethnic, and modern. In this way, he tries to produce a truly educated dance artist. The list of those dance greats who have taught at the Pillow reflect this attitude. Many of these students are on scholarships, and between classes spend their time serving food, working backstage, as ushers, selling programs and candy, parking cars, scrubbing floors, and hauling trash.
Linda Kent.
When not working, in class, or attending nighttime performances, they dance. Talk about dance, think about dance, and probably dream about it.
And the last.
For many students at the Pillow, the summer's highlight is an opportunity to dance in a work especially created for them by a noted choreographer. This production is under the direction of Nell Roos of the Amsterdam Ballet School in Holland. It will be shown in a public performance on the festival stage during the final week of the summer season.
I don't know if you saw me. When I studied at the Pillow, students spent 6 to 9 consecutive weeks, just sequential all the way through. We spent the entire summer there, and we studied ballet, we studied modern, we studied East Indian, and we studied flamenco. And I remember clearly driving my cabin mates absolutely crazy because I was obsessively practicing my little plastic castanets. They had to tell me to cease and desist. We also took subjects ranging from dance notation to elements of performing stagecraft for dancers and the history of dance. Now, I was lucky enough, as I told you, to be a scholarship student, which meant that along with my fellow scholarship students, I got to do many things like sweep the Tedchon Theater. I stuffed envelopes for promotional mailings. I scraped plates after mealtimes in the kitchen. I ushered, and I even got to park cars. Well, I didn't actually park it, I kind of directed them. And I even got to clean toilets, which was lots of fun. But I also got to work backstage and experience that, the behind the scenes action. Of course, I got to see all the performances that were presented for both those 2 summers. More importantly than that, I was able to study under really esteemed artists. These included Myra Kinch, Margaret Krask, Maria Dare, Carola Goya, and Mateo, and La Marie, as well as many of the visiting artists who came that summer, including Gus Solomon Jr. and Norman Walker. I mean, it was just an amazing experience for a 15 and 16-year-old to go through. But even more importantly, and more special to my heart, was that I was able to study with Ted Sean himself. He taught us several sessions. And I don't want to get this wrong, so I'm going to read it to you. He taught us principle of movement, pantomime, and dramatic dance, and dance history. And to this day, it was just truly, truly an honor to be the recipient of his wisdom and his knowledge. We very lovingly called him Papa Sean. So, the school today, though, and it does share many similarities with the way it was way back then, more than half a century ago. But there are many, many differences, many really distinct differences. And one is that the students there today are pre-professionals and professionals. But they're all young. They can only go up to a certain age. I believe it's 21 or 22. And they're chosen through a far more rigorous audition process than I ever had to go through. I know that if I had to go through an audition process like theirs, I never would have made it to the pillow. Let me see, how do I explain it? Each winter, Nick and I attend one of the auditions in New York City, that's held in New York City. And there are like over 60 young people at just this one audition. And I'm totally amazed at the talent and expertise that they exhibit. It's really mind-boggling. Milton Myers conducts the contemporary auditions, and he goes, doo, 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 and all of a sudden, all 65 people are right up there with him, and the combinations are not easy at all. They're very complicated. Besides auditioning, students are selected through other means. The auditions are held in 12 national and international locations, but students can also submit videos, and they are asked to write an application where the dancer will have to explain his or her aspirations and goals. And I've been told by J.R. Glover, who's the director of education, that these essays are really, really very important. Now, the sessions don't go just through the whole summer. Students only go for 2 to 3 week periods in 4 distinct programs. There's ballet, which is under the direction of the legendary ballerina and master teacher, Anne-Marie Holmes. Contemporary, under Milton Myers, who is an esteemed mentor, choreographer, master teacher, one of the finest human beings you'll ever meet. There's musical theater under Chet Walker, and he's an acclaimed Broadway director and choreographer. And then there's a program that's called Cultural and Improv Traditions, and each year that kind of changes. One year it could be in tap, another it could be in jazz. Last year, Camille A. Brown held a program where she dealt with hip hop and street dance. And this year it was directed, I'm sorry, it's over now, by the founder of Urban Bushwomen. So, let's see where I am. Oh yeah, not only do these students have only 2 to 3 week sessions, but only 12 men and 12 women are selected for each program. And that means that less than 100 students out of over 3,500 who apply are accepted into the program each summer. I don't know how these students are really selected. Every year, Nick and I go up to Milton Myers, who conducts the contemporary auditions, and to J.R. Glover, the education director. We go, my God, how can you do this? They're all so incredible. And invariably, they'll smile and shake their heads and go, it's not easy. But they do it. The students who go to Jacob's Pillow So many of them go on to have incredible careers. The roster of alumni is like an international honor roll of artists who perform in such companies as these: Royal Danish Ballet, Martha Graham Dance Company, Aspen Santa Fe Ballet, Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, Hubbard Street, Joffrey Ballet, Merce Cunningham, Mark Morris Dance Group, New York City Ballet, Alonzo Lines Ballet, Jessica Lange, and Palabolas. It's just a few of the companies that the alumni appear in. A lot of them have also gone on to have roles in Broadway. And as for Jesse, you know that young man I told you about who was so exhilarated when he got off the stage? I am absolutely thrilled to tell you he is, besides being with a few small companies, he is also with Laura Lubavitch Dance Company now, and Jose Limon. So that was just thrilling for Nick and I to hear. Well, when we began this evening, I told you that Jacob's Pillow had helped shape my life. And I did not become a professional dancer. I stayed, however, in the arts. But I truly believe that what the pillow gave me was a deep appreciation for focus, determination, dedication. It truly enriched my life. It instilled in me this really like deep beauty, appreciation for the beauty of the human form and the real power of dance. It enriched my life then, and it continues to enrich my life now. And one of the ways it does is because of the students whom Nick and I support. Now, there were people, really generous people, whom I never met, never knew who they were, who provided the scholarships for me to have those experiences at Jacob's Pillow. And now, at this time of our lives, Nick and I would like to give back. And I especially want to help further the aspirations of the passionate, dedicated young people who are studying at Jacob's Pillow now, who have been selected to study there. You know, we don't choose our students. They're assigned to us by the education department. But we've been really, really lucky because just about all of them have resided in or around New York City, which means that we can keep in very close touch with them, and we can go to as many performances as we can when they appear in New York or New Jersey or Connecticut. And for those who are no longer in the tri-state area, I keep in really close contact through texting and through emails. These students, it's almost hard to talk about. They're almost like our children. I feel so indebted to them. And I always say to them that they are giving more back to me to fulfill my life than we could ever, ever give to them. And we know, like I said, we supported them financially to go to the Pillow, but when we go to their performances, then we're giving moral support. And it was very cute. One of our students, Kara, said, you know what, it's just so great to know that there's someone out there in that audience who believes in me besides my parents. Yeah. It's very hard for me not to talk about my students, our students, to go on and on about them. I would like to show you just their photographs. I won't explain all the different companies that they're in or the stages they've performed on or the magazines they've been in, but here we go. This is Samantha Barriento, and she graduated from the Ailey Fordham dance program with honors. She just finished her 2 years with Ailey 2, and she is now in the process of taking many, many workshops and auditioning. and auditioning and auditioning. Okay. Regan Sampson. She was our 2015 student. She's just absolutely exquisite, all the way from Missoula, Montana. She too graduated from the Ailey Fordham program. In fact, she was a double major, summa cum laude, in dance and economics. While she was in school, she still is with Ballet Hispanico's second company, and now that she graduated this past May, she is right up there with Samantha, taking workshops and auditioning. Kara Chan. Kara's from Canada. She graduated from she graduated from Juilliard. And I have something I want to, where is it? Tell you about her. She's truly an amazing little dancer. The New York Times called her a spark plug. Now, she has performed with numerous companies, including Laura Lubavitch. This past winter, she was in Mark Morris's Hard Nut. And in March, we saw her perform at the 92nd Street Y with Catherine Posen. She is now a freelance dancer. She has a bunch of performances coming up in New York this September. And she also teaches dance underprivileged children as well as gives private lessons. Okay. Very special. Doja Brown. Doja studied at the Duke Ellington School of the Arts in Washington, District of Columbia, and she graduated from the California Institute of Arts. In 2012, shortly after she left Jacob's Pillow, just a few months, she and her family had really, really bad financial problems, and Doja joined the Army. And we were going, oh my God, what is she going to do in the Army? Well, what she did was she applied for the Army Soldier Show. She was one of only 22 people in the nation accepted, and she toured the world with the Army Soldier Show. Her stint in the Army is just about up. She's going to be going for a master's in dance and teaching as well. So, Julian Watson. He was our student this summer. Just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful dancer. He studies French-styled classical ballet at the Academy of Ballet in New York City. He just came back from Germany, where he studied at the Ballet Summer School in Dresden. And then he went on to Moscow to do a photo shoot for a dancewear company. And in September, he's back in New York, and he's going to continue studying privately, preparing himself for auditions. Lovely, lovely young man. And this is Jessie. This is the Jessie who loved being on the outdoor stage so much. And as I've already told you, Laura Lubavitch, Jose Limon, he too graduated from Juilliard. Okay. Okay, Daphne Lee. She was our first. I feel like she's my firstborn. She was our first student, and just a beautiful, beautiful dancer. Also graduated with honors from Ailey Fordham. And I won't go through the list of companies that she's been with, and she's also done a lot of videos, and she's been in Dance Magazine, and but right now, just so proud of her. She's with a company down in Memphis, and it's, let's see, I don't want to get the name wrong. Let's see, Dance Collective, something like that. Let's see. Yeah, Collage Dance Collective. I knew there was something wrong with that. And what they do is it's a big effort to promote ballet for people of color, because it's always been such a difficult area for people of color to be accepted in. And so her company performs dances for blacks, for Hispanics. They also have a teaching facility. But she's just doing beautifully down there. And this summer she worked with Jeremy McQueen on the Black Iris Project. And that's the Black Iris Project. Again, I need to read this to you. It's a ballet collaborative that champions new black-centric work and arts education. And that's what Daphne's doing now. Just very, very proud of her. She also lives in New Jersey, and when she's home, we get to be together a lot. I want you to know that I really, really feel it's important to recognize and appreciate the dancers of the past, to appreciate their talent, their contributions, their accomplishments, just like we did in the first part of this series when Iris Fanger talked to us about the dynamic ballroom trio of Irene and Vernon Castle, and when Jane Pritchard told us such beautiful stories about the iconic Anna Pavlova. And I believe it's important, it's thrilling to experience and to support the artistry of dancers today, just like Reggie Wilson, who appeared here last week. But I believe it's not only important, but it's imperative that we support in any way we can, whether it be financially or just morally, the young, passionate, driven dancers of today, because they are the future. They're the ones who will ensure that this magnificent art form of dance flourishes and flourishes for generations. Thank you.